the question is, he's got a soccer tournament. Okay. Is it permissible for him to break the fast because he needs to win? It's so important.
No.
And he needs to win. It's okay. It's okay. He can go ahead.
Because I get thirsty.
Because you get thirsty. Okay. That's okay. Fadwa, what do you want to do?
I saw a video a few days ago. They asked a question like that. But we have really, really important things.
Yeah,
I
I
can I break the fast? If you're not interested in Jannah, you want to go to hellfire.
yeah, that awesome. What was that? Awesome or something?
That shit is so funny.
That sheikh, yeah, he was like,
Which is so true. Yeah.
yep. Well, here's one thing. Is that, you know, there's so many different goals in life, but there's always a trade-off. When you want to live your life, you got to make sure that it's Jannah friendly. You understand what I'm saying? It's like, okay, you've got a goal that you want to win this baseball match. But is that goal more important than the goal of Jannah? That's what you want to ask yourself. What is the ultimate goal? The ultimate goal is Jannah. If you feel that your soccer game is making your ultimate goal, Jannah, challenging for you, by all means, take off from it. Take off from it, because Jannah is the real goal. Because that's the purpose that came even before you even existed. Because that's the main reason why you were even brought to this life. It's Jannah. So to actually say, well, I want to break my fast because I want to get to winning this soccer game and forget your goal, it's really a problem. You know, it's like this. I'm going to draw this little thing. This happens a lot. So I'm going to draw this. Okay. I want you to pay attention to it. So girls, please, in the back. All right. So let's just assume this is a bridge that's leading somewhere. Okay. You've got this bridge, and many times and oftentimes people are walking down the bridge, and this is the bridge of life. In this bridge of life, many times people can get carried away, and they're walking down the bridge, and they would forget that the real destination is right there. And they would just take a moment, and it's like, yeah, they just want to go to school, want to get married, want to get a job. And all of these different things are supposed to be on the side of the bridge. That's not the most important thing. If getting a degree at college is going to get you off track from getting to the real destination, well, change your field by all means, because getting to the Jannah is what really matters the most. You understand what I'm saying? Well, that's the same thing. If me playing soccer is going to give me, yeah, good health, but it's going to obstruct and it's going to basically make me lose my destination from getting to the real actual destination of Jannah, leave it. Because while you're going through the bridge, you're going to find a lot of distractions. Could be your children. Yes, your children. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna min amwalikum wa awladikum fitna. Part of your children, part of your wealth is a fitna. It's a trial. It's a challenge. It's a distraction. Your friends could be a distraction. Your appearance, and she's trying to look good because she's trying to look the best, and all of that, and your business and all of your school, it could be a distraction. Even my schooling, yes, even your schooling could be a distraction. How could my school, I thought it was good. Yes, your school is good, but your school is a tool. If this tool is obstructing you and diverting you from focusing on the main destination, then you're not using your tool right. Then your tool is becoming a distraction. Then that's really important, very important, that when you look at where and what you're heading to, you have to look at this bridge and you got to ask yourself, is this tool that I'm using, whether it's children, whether it's house, whether it's a place you're living in, whether it's a job, whether it's probably a game or whatever, is it taking me to the actual destination of Jannah? If not, there has to be a trade-off. You have to work on certain trade-offs. What is a trade-off? When you go and buy something, what do? You give them money, and in replacement, they give you whatever you're paying for. The money you worked so hard to get, but yeah, you want a trade-off. You got to give up on that to get something else. And that's the same thing. Even if I had an MCAT test or whatever test, well, you got to ask yourself, is this a tool or is this a goal? There's a difference. And this happens often where people are confusing tool and goal. It oftentimes happens that when people graduate school, high school, or graduate college, or probably get married, they go into a moment of depression. You know why? Because they were always focused that that was the goal, and they forgot that that was a tool, not a goal. When she gets a baby, she all of a sudden goes into depression. Why? Because they were so focused that that was a goal and not a tool. And then once they reach that level, then they go into complete anxiety and complete depression because they didn't feel a change. They thought that there was going to be a moment once I graduate, that day, or once I get married, that day is going to all of a sudden put me in a new feeling. Even when you win, when you graduate, when you get a job, when you get money, even if you were to live in a villa or a mansion or whatever it is, it's not going to change much, by the way. Even when you get married, it's not going to change much. Even if you buy the most expensive clothes, it's not going to change much. You're still going to be the same person, because the Prophet ﷺ told you, من كان آمنا في سربه معافا في بدنه. What else? ذلك قوت يومه فقد حيزت له الدنيا. If you live in security, you've got good health, and you've got the meal for the day, you've got everything. There's no more. You've got everything, my dear. There's no more. There's no more. You know what that means? Whether you've got Elon Musk's money, or whether you've got your meal, your shirt, you've got your safe, you've got everything. You're living like a king. Just saying, you're living like a king. Don't expect this ultimate change in where you're somehow going to feel like this ultimate happiness. That's the mirage that a lot of teenagers live in. A lot of teenagers would live in this feeling like there's going to be this complete happiness. One day I will get to. And that's why many actually go through different, whether it's the girls trying to, yeah, if only I would get this shirt or this dress or this appearance or these many people liking my page or that I would be happy. And she doesn't recognize that, no, it won't change anything. It's a mirage. Real happiness doesn't come from outside. Real happiness comes from the inside. Real happiness comes from the insides, my friend. That's why you would make the dua. اللهم اجعل القرآن ربيع قلبي ونور صدري. Because real happiness comes from the inside. Real happiness doesn't come from the outside. It's not about beautiful clothes, and certainly not about people liking your page, and certainly not about whatsoever winning a baseball match. Believe it or not even about graduating school. Even if you got a PhD and who knows what you get. That's not what brings happiness. That's just a tool. Even PhD, I'm not discouraging you from learning and getting to school. Not at all. I'm not discouraging you from going to school. You definitely need that tool. But I'm just telling you that there is some sort of a commercialized and exaggerated tool. It's made like it's a goal. Universities are mainly for business, my friends. You still need those degrees. You still need those degrees because they really ease things. There is some knowledge to learn. But be careful from falling in this commercialized industry called degrees. Be careful from falling in that. That's all I'm saying. So even if you were getting a test or college or etc., don't lose your deen for a degree. Don't lose your deen for a paper to hang on the wall. Don't lose your deen for a CV to just be another tool to get you higher in dunya. Get a degree. I've got a PhD. I worked hard to get there. More than 26 years of my life, I was just between schools and colleges and universities. Just to study Islamic studies took me 13 years of my life. Other than school, forget the school. Just Sharia. 13 years of my life, just Sharia. All right, but still, I'll tell you, even if you're studying Sharia, if you're not doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's going waste. It's going waste. Your ultimate goal should be Jannah. When people might actually look at you and, yeah, doctor such and master such and who knows, not a big deal. Wallah, you can have somebody that is more genuine, with no degrees, with none of these labels, a lot more genuine and a lot happier than a person with all these labels. And you can have somebody, wallahi al-azim, more understanding and easier and more transparent and better akhlaq than a person that could be at the highest ranks of their CVs, doctor, and in order to talk to them, you got to make an appointment and all of that.
But we see that every day, though.
But they carry nothing but arrogance. Nothing but arrogance. We see that all the time. You know what I'm trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that all the different tools that you see people running after in dunya, be careful from living the mirage that you have to run that towards that tool, and that tool is that what makes people important. That's what I'm trying to say. That tool does not make people important. The real tool that makes people important is really how dedicated they are to the ultimate goal, that's Jannah. How dedicated they are to living the principle of the Lord Almighty. It's okay to get a tool. It's good, actually. to get a degree, become doctors or accountants or businessmen. Maybe you'll hate نعم المال الصالح نعم المال الصالح للعبد الصالح. It's good to actually have money, to actually spend it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, have halal money, and probably maybe build a masjid or a school, or probably build an Islamic center, teach people Islam. Definitely, we need these kind of people. We definitely need these kind of people. But if the person is not using it with their focus on Jannah, they've got their matters lost. They've got their matters confused. Don't confuse the goal and the tool. Don't confuse the goal and the tool, because the second you confuse the goal and the tool, you know what happens? You yourself will live in depression, because you're thinking and you're looking for happiness in the wrong place. If you're looking for happiness in a goal, in a degree, or if you're looking for happiness in your appearance, or if you just, oh, if only I buy this 200 thing from Sephora, it's going to give me the most beautiful skin. It's like, yeah, so you bought it from Sephora, and then what? And you bought that dress, and you bought that, and people said, oh, she has an outstanding dress, and outstanding, and she was looking glamorous and all of that. So then you got the praise. Then what? Is it going to get you anywhere? It's not going to get you anywhere. Nowhere. Don't fool yourself in thinking that happiness is from the outside. True happiness is on the inside. It's the nur that you get in your heart. It's the nur that you get in your heart. Once your mind, once your behavior, once your heart and your spirit are all compatible with one another, going towards the goal, Jannah, that's when you'll see the heart and the face and the eyes and the ears and the mouth and everything actually bringing in and reflecting light. What is light? You can have somebody that is dark-skinned African, but still have nur, because light is not an issue of being white. Not at all. It's not an issue of being white. It's an issue of actually containing and radiating the compatibility of heart, mind, and ruh. Once these things are together, that's when you'll see it radiating light. In other words, true happiness is when you feel that you were up to the commitment. The commitment, committed to what? Committing to get to Jannah, my friend. Committed to get to Jannah. Because it's all about getting commitment to that Jannah that you're focused on. But if you feel that playing soccer is challenging you from focusing on your commitment, take it away. At least for a certain time. And why? Because you got a bigger goal. You got a bigger goal. So to you, anything that challenges you from getting you to the bigger goal, by all means, take it out. If it's making your akhirah get lost from right before your eyes, take it out. Or maybe see the commitment. Even though I was playing soccer, but I still managed to actually go through that struggle and actually fast. Hey, that gives you double the reward. But never put yourself in a challenge and say, I'm trying to get double the reward. All right. Did I answer that question? Yusuf, did I answer it? What do you want to say, Bishar?
No, I think what he was asking you is,
It's okay. What?
okay, so we're going to Kansas for a tournament, like he was telling you.
Okay.
I think the day of traveling, you want to break fast.
That's okay. If there is a day of traveling, you
Yeah.
can break you can break the fast if you are traveling, regardless of the reason for the travel. Whether the travel was because you wanted to visit your grandmother, or whether the travel was because you wanted to go to the canyon, the Grand Canyon, because you wanted to sightsee, or whether the travel was for a baseball or a baseball, basketball, whatever, soccer game or whatever. Since it's a travel, you can break your fast regardless of the hardship.
Yeah.
Got it? Regardless
And
of the
and
hardship.
fasting the 3 days that he's playing that.
Anyways, since you're not home, you can break your fast.
For for how many days? The day that you're traveling.
As long as you are away from home.
So all 3 days or just one?
All 3 days, if you are away from home, all the 3 days, or even a week, if you are away from home, you can break your fast as long as you are considered not home.
So what happens if you travel, say you go to anywhere, let's say you go to Australia, and then they fast into the month of Ramadan, can you fast then?
Since you're not home, you can break your fast for the whole month if you happen to be outside of your place of residence for the whole month. But you got to remember, you're going to have to make it up.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
All right. So I know it feels good. It's like, hey, really? Yeah, but you're going to have to make it up. Even if you have been out for the whole month, as long as you're not a resident in that area, you can break your fast, but you have to make it up.
But you can fast too if you wanted to.
You can fast if you want to.
Well, هو خاطر at that time of the Prophet ﷺ, like they were traveling for like on the camels for days and nights. That's why the hukum at that time it was
Not
as long as
necessarily.
you're not home,
The
you can-
ayah actually says that لا جناح عليكم إذا ضربتم في الأرض أن تقصروا من الصلاة. At the end of the day, if we're talking about a travel, it's a travel. The ayah was really clear. أو كنتم على سفر. Well, that ayah is actually different. So basically, for safar, it was really clear. فمن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر. It's called safar. It didn't identify, it didn't define whether it's over the camel or whether it's over over a, nope, doesn't matter. Nope, this is,
for a vacation.
that's okay. That's okay. That's not home. If Tunis is not your home and you're traveling and you wanted to break your fast, whether you're using a rocket to get to Tunis or whether you were using United Airlines or whether you were using Delta, it doesn't make a difference. Since it's called a travel, you can break your fast since it's called a travel. Not only that, you can also shorten the prayers since it's called a travel, regardless of what means you use to travel.
Is this the whole time Ramadan? Isn't there like اختلاف about like 3 days or no?
So there are actually differences of opinions on how long is the maximum of a travel to, is it 3 days? Is it 3 months, and how long? There is really no evidence to support any number of limiting a certain number of days or time. So that actually leaves it that as long as it's considered that you're not a resident in that country, then that means you are considered a traveler and you're not a resident there. So therefore, that would permit you to, one, not do Jum'ah, two, shorten the prayers, three, and not fast.
So how far does it agree for
There, as long as you're not a resident, that's considered okay. 3 days, 4 days, a month. You've got some Sahaba that actually lived in Afghanistan and literally shortened their prayers for almost 2 years.
even if let's say so if you're in the booth, you sure you pray?
You don't have to. It's permissible. If you go to Duluth, which is approximately 150 miles from here, Approximately, am I right? What? 206? Okay. Okay, well, whatever. At the end of the day, it's almost 3 hours of driving, or 2 hours, 2.5 hours of driving. All right. So at the end of the day, you can shorten your prayers from here to Duluth.
This is 80 kilometers,
But you
right?
still have to
Distance
back
from 80 kilometers at least.
So it's not necessarily 80 kilometers. There isn't anything that necessarily specified a number of distance, 80 kilometers. They did actually try to use, some estimation of what it looks like. But if you are leaving, let's say it that way, if you're leaving the area of residence, so here in Minnesota, where we live in Minneapolis, if you get out of the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul area, okay, you get out of this area, you are considered, you had left your place of residence. So in other words, let's say you go to Rochester, which is only an hour and a half away. That actually means you had left the Twin Cities area. You can shorten the prayers there. Let's say you go to St. Cloud, same thing. You can shorten your prayers. Let's go and speak about probably going within the Twin Cities, as long as you're within the Twin Cities, all right, yes, it's a long radius, but as long as you're within the Twin Cities, you cannot shorten. Once you leave the Twin Cities, then you can shorten.
The fasting, so the day we're leaving, I would be fasting, but then I can break it.
You break the fast not on the day that you leave, once you really depart, not depart getting to Glumac Drive and, okay, this is not basically getting there. This is actually getting out. Once the plane, ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts and ready for takeoff. Takes off, and then a few minutes later, we're away from Minneapolis St. Paul International Airport. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And right now, we have already departed Minneapolis St. Paul. Now you can break your fast. But once you are in Minneapolis St. Paul Airport, you're still within the city. You cannot break your fast yet.
Because
Nope, you don't actually wake up and say, well, I'm actually traveling and I've put in the intention. No, not until you literally take off.
So how would that work for a car?
For a car, once you leave the Minneapolis St. Paul area, now you're not within your city. Once you're out of Minneapolis St. Paul area, the Twin Cities, that's when you can break your fast. What?
So you see, like, like you can see when you're like down with Minneapolis, and then you go to the next exit.
Well, there you go. Yep, you go the next exit. Now you're outside of Minneapolis St. Paul. Now you're outside of Minneapolis St. Paul. There you go. So what, St. Michael's from here, St. Cloud, we're looking at a whole mile radius. Buffalo, go ahead.
But من ناحية rewards, you do take the rukhsa. You don't take the rukhsa, there's no difference whatsoever, right? You don't get rewarded more.
Scott, that's a good question. Which is better? Is breaking your fast better, or is taking the challenge better? Scholars actually had differences of opinions on whether doing the rukhsa, the permission to break your fast, is better, or whether taking the challenge is better, which is called the azima. There was a huge debate, and the reason for the debate is because the Prophet ﷺ actually said in the hadith, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ أَن تُؤْتَى رُخَصُهُ كَمَا يُحِبُّ أَن تُؤْتَى عَزَائِمُهُ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves, and in other words, he is content when people would take the permission that he had given the same way that he would like people to take the enthusiasm, the commitment, and the challenge. Then the scholars had differences of opinions, but which one is better? So that's the same thing, and maybe it's clearer. If I were to say, if somebody were to come at you and say, break your fast or I'll shoot you, and you insist, no, I'm not going to break my fast, and the person shoots you, you die. Which is better? Saving your life and drinking? Or is it, well, at least I'll die shaheed? Which one is better? So scholars there had a differences of opinion, which is actually better. All right. The differences of opinion is really that you really died a shaheed, but at the same time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given you the permission to break your fast and actually eat, because you were right there putting your life in danger. So in that situation, like I said, it's for your commitment on what you want to do. Both are permissible. Both are equal at the same level of challenge. Yes, both are equal because the Prophet ﷺ said both are equal. So you decide on what you want to take. Go ahead, Mason. Raise your voice, my dear. You pretend you're drinking, but you're actually not drinking. I just hope he's looking at the water to recognize that the water amount of water reduced. It must have been a black canister or something. All right. So if you pretend that you're drinking, but you don't actually drink, well, good job. But I don't know if he's really concerned about you drinking water or whether he's concerned about trying to somehow humiliate you and, provoke your identity. Go ahead. Can you break your fast when you're at the desert? Well, I hope you have water to break your fast at the desert. So can you break your fast at the desert? So first of all, if you're at the desert and if you are striving, to somehow, survive, I just hope you have enough water to survive, to break your fast. So if you're dehydrated, like super dehydrated, and you're starting to see lights, and you're starting to get dizzy, and you're starting to get like severe headaches, and you're starting to really feel that, your dehydration is going far, and your body is right now trying to fail, definitely drink water if you're able to find some, okay? Do not go to any type of deserts, Duha, just to make sure that your daughter is safe. Go ahead.
If you fast in a state or country that's really hot, does that mean you have strong iman?
If you fast in a country that is really hot, does that mean that you got strong iman? The bigger the challenge, the more and the higher the reward. Okay, but don't go for a bigger challenge, because you could never guarantee that you will not go into a fitna. Okay, so don't put yourself in a challenge and say, well, yeah, I want to test my commitment. No, don't do that, because you never know whether you will even be able to make it to pass that commitment, right? All right, everyone. Maryam, you wanted to say something? Go ahead, my dear. Am I allowing her to unmute herself? Oh, my dear. Don't worry, Maryam. I got you covered. Go ahead, Maryam. Maryam, I gave you the mic, Maryam. Maryam, where are you? There we go. Maryam, you can start. I can't hear you. Can you guys hear her? No, me neither. Or maybe, let me see. Maryam, I can't hear her. Let me see if we can do it like this. Maryam, go ahead. Maryam, I can't hear you, honey. Sorry about that. I can't hear you. You know what? Call me, inshallah. Okay, in front of Allah, how is it possible for us to spend Jannah with the incredible likes of Khadija, the Sahaba from the tribe of Ghafar, I forgot his name, Abu Dhar al-Ghafari, or the woman who lost her sight, Zinira? How can we get the level, went through so much and getting in a silver platter? Like, what is the wisdom behind it? How should we view this goal? Oh, I love that question. Oh, I love that question. How can we get there? Well, in order to get there, there has to be the determination, consistency, and that's what creates a commitment. That's in short, in the minute that we have. Determination, consistency, is what creates commitment. And remember, the true light comes from within inside that is compatible with your outside behavior. I hope I answered that one.
Let's go.